Hello, and welcome to this Charleston virtual session. I'm Emily Singley, Vice President of North American Library Relations at Elsevier, and I am delighted to be moderating today's session entitled Going Beyond Content, What Today's Researchers Need from Libraries. Our speakers today are Emily McElroy, Associate Dean of Research and Health Sciences at the University of Florida Libraries, Lori Ostapovitz-Kritz, Associate Director of Scholarly Communication and Open Strategies at the Worcester Polytechnic Institute, and Bree Zhang, the Natural Language Processing Specialist, also from the University of Florida Libraries. And in this session, Emily, Bree, and Lori will share brief presentations on how libraries are supporting today's researchers. Emily's going to kick us off by sharing how her library has built a cutting-edge research services team. And Bree, who is a member of that team, is going to give the perspective of an AI librarian, how she teaches and supports AI on her campus with students and faculty and librarians. And Lori is going to close us out with her talk on how she supports her faculty's need for comprehensive research output reporting. And before I pass off to Emily, I'd like to provide a bit of background on why we decided on this topic. The research environment, both how faculty perform research and how they communicate that research, is rapidly evolving in many ways. New technologies, including AI technologies like machine learning, large language models, are creating new research methodologies and practices, which in turn creates new needs for librarian support. And STEM research is a growth area at many of our institutions, and the amount of STEM research that is being performed on our campuses has been exponentially increasing, and competition for research dollars like federal funding has gotten much more intense. And this results in more pressure on researchers to demonstrate the value of their research and their research impact. They're experiencing pressures to publish, the need to demonstrate citation counts, and the emerging use of things like altmetrics and social media. And of course, we're also living in turbulent times, right, where research can run into political pressures and misinformation is flourishing on social media. So the question we want to get at in this session is what libraries can do to help support today's researchers, given this kind of an environment. We're seeing libraries taking on this challenge and begin to reinvent the profession. So a quick look at any job site, and you're going to see that traditional librarian roles have been changing. So in this session, we're going to highlight a couple of libraries that are reinventing how they support researchers and talking about what is working as well as what some of the challenges are. So with that, I will hand it off to Emily to get us started.
Hi, as Emily said, I'm currently an associate dean at the Smathers Libraries, and I lead a division called Research and Health Sciences, which has 3 departments. And one of those departments is the Academic Research Consulting and Services Department, otherwise known as ARCS. And as the associate dean for the last year, I've had an opportunity to see how a group of functional experts come together and deliver services around the entire research lifecycle. And while many of these services exist at other libraries, we're unique in how we have created this department and expanded it into areas such as AI and reproducibility. Throughout my career, especially over the last 15 years, I've seen growth in positions like those that you see on the screen that now seem familiar, such as scholarly communications, copyright, GIS, systematic reviews, and digital humanities, and of course, the exponential growth of data management. In some cases, we have built a base level of knowledge around some of these areas, such as scholarly communications or copyright, and we've built those into regular subject specialist responsibilities, with more complicated referrals going to dedicated positions like the ones in ARCS. And when some of these positions started, it was usually because a librarian developed an interest in a topic, such as copyright, and then campus demand built around that topic. And suddenly people would say, oh, there's someone in the library who can help you with a copyright question. 12 years and several positions ago, I worked at a library that created a data curation position with someone who started as an acquisitions librarian and who loved working with data. When we decided to hire a basic sciences librarian, we hired someone who had just finished her PhD in biochemistry and molecular biology because we wanted someone who really understood the sciences. And looking back at that time, no one objected to hiring a non-librarian because she filled a gap in our services, and our candidate pools didn't have anyone with that level of experience. Next slide, please. To describe how ARCS functions and the integration with the libraries, it is important to state that we have full department members who report directly to me, and then affiliate faculty who fill essential roles within ARCS. And it can be challenging when affiliate members report to many different people across the organization, but we do have teams that coordinate work across the full and affiliate members. Next slide, please. And as you can see on the left, we have many people who have traditional backgrounds, including a lot of MLS degrees, but then nearly all of our recent hires come from a non-library background, which you can see on the right-hand side. Next slide. And this first slide shows the range of professional associations that ARCS members participate in. So this slide, for example, shows a lot of your more traditional library organizations. And then on the next slide, you can see that where people are participating in is very different from what a traditional librarian would serve in. And then on the next slide, you can see that while our department has many specialized skills, and those you can and cannot see, part of it is so that you can see actually just a wide range of applications and programming. And with our department still growing with at least 2 more potential hires in the next year, we're looking at many of these types of skills to fill these functional liaison roles. And because ARCS members are library faculty, they have the same expectations for tenure and promotion as other faculty. Those members are expected to provide consultations with people ranging from undergraduate students to research faculty. Everyone teaches workshops with many teaching credit courses, and they also serve as a liaison to interdisciplinary centers and institutes. So everyone needs basic skills to align with their responsibilities, such as solid communication and feeling comfortable creating and delivering course material. And along with their consultations and teaching, many serve as advisors or supervisors to graduate students and interns, are on or awarded grants, and serve on library committees and participate in professional organizations. Next slide, please. I often say that we have 3 cultures of the department: those who were hired into the health sciences library and joined ARCS because they had functional skills that aligned with the new department, those hired directly into ARCS, and then the affiliate members who often don't see a distinction between their primary job and their ARCS responsibilities. So with 3 cultures, creating that team structure can be very difficult in creating a sense of unity. And it can also be very confusing to other people in the library. But creating these teams has helped facilitate collaboration among the affiliates and the full department members. One of the challenges that we've had is demystifying what people in ARCS do, especially with some of the more recent positions. People understand copyright or digital humanities or research metrics, but AI, reproducibility, the difference between biomedical and clinical informatics, it starts to get a little fuzzy. And then also that disagreement between what is traditional versus not. And in many respects, our functional liaisons do serve some of those traditional things that I mentioned, such as teaching. But the primary reason why we want to build an understanding of what people do is that so other subject specialists or liaisons can refer users to them. Likewise, people in ARCS need to share information about their consultations with subject specialists so they know the types of research projects or activities happening in, say, the College of Journalism. Working through our subject specialists is critical so that the colleges and our wide range of users understand the full suite of services and expertise offered by the libraries than what what people think of as a librarian. And we won't succeed if they don't understand these functional roles. Flipping the understanding around, the non-librarians must learn a different culture from a lab environment. In our division, we balance our faculty meetings between what interests everyone and what interests the other liaisons. And because of the department, how it evolved, we plan on making some structural changes to shed some of the expectations around liaison work. For example, our bioinformatics and reproducibility librarian is assigned as a regular liaison to a department that suddenly needs advanced literature searches. And I don't want her to have to keep current with what's happening in libraries while she needs to stay current on what's happening in her area of focus. And finally, what I love about the mix of backgrounds in this department is how we're helping the entire libraries remain vital to the mission of our university. They're supporting the education and research missions, especially as they teach best practices about publishing, data management, and reproducibility to undergraduate and graduate students. We've demonstrated to campus that libraries have evolved, and our traditional service are as strong as ever, but we are adapting to changing disciplines by creating or expanding these roles. And I will turn it over to Bree, who will go into a little bit more detail about this.
Hello, everyone. I'm Bree Zhang. I'm the Natural Language Processing Specialist at Smathers Library at the University of Florida, and I'm one of the ARCS department member. Today, I will introduce you my job component as an AI librarian. Next slide, please. Here is some basic background of myself. I graduated with a PhD and MA in linguistics and minor in computer science. I also had a BS in educational technology. In my background, I used to use AI technology to work on endangered language such as Nepal Bahasa and other language in the world. And I graduated in 2021. I started my librarianship in December 2021. Next slide, please. I was hired by University of Florida under the 5 years AI initiative, where includes built an entire AI curriculum cross-campus and hire faculty members, and also enhancing home-growing supercomputing system and provide trainings for faculty members. I was hired to ARCS team, and we also create a new sub-ARCS team, AI team, to develop AI materials for library employees. Next slide, please. So in most of my work are outfacing work at the libraries. There are 3 components: teaching, consultation, and research collaboration. In the next 3 slides, I'm going to show you some of the example cases of my work. Thank you. Next slide. So in 2022, the library started AI training for library employees. We started with launch out an AI survey to our colleagues to learn what they want to know about AI. Have they ever got questions from patrons about AI? And we collected all of the feedback and create this 5 workshop series to introduce what is AI, about AI ethics, and we had an in-person open AI library discussion and introduce a little bit about what natural language processing is, and with a hands-on practice session with introduction to Tableau. And we got very positive feedback from library colleagues, and we're going to continue to do that throughout the future years. Another part of my teaching component is to teach credit-bearing course. I had co-designed and currently teaching undergraduate AI course with my co-instructor collaborator from College of Education. Here are the main components we focus to teach AI basics in our course. They are programming, Python programming for AI, and AI with the subdomain natural language processing tasks, and comparing traditional statistic modeling with the newer version of deep learning, machine learning language model building component. And currently in our course, we welcomed 68 undergraduate students from 10 different colleges. they are not required to have a mathematic or programming background. And currently they're enjoying all of the hands-on lab assignments in this class. We're having fun in this class. Thank you. Next slide, please. And another exciting component about my job is doing AI consultation. Here is a situation that I do not prepare material, but get really fresh and intriguing question from all campus community. Maybe most of them from student and faculty. Sometimes staff will ask me a question about everything about AI. So this is sometimes feel random, but we always almost every single time we dive into very meaningful discussion, and many of their questions is always worth me to spend time to think a little deeper. So here are some major questions that I kind of receive from different colleges, such as large language models, ChatGPT, inevitably is getting very popular. How should we use that? And how should students understand how to use it? How faculty members should understand how to use it? How language models are built? Why ChatGPT outperform other language models? And why this kind of mysterious human feedback reinforcement learning advanced ChatGPT to have this amazing performance? And I also get questions from domain-specific expertise. They are very knowledgeable in their domain area, but they wanted to start to implement AI as a method into their research. So they will come to me and learn the basics of how data is encoded in the framework of machine learning, such as language data. What is word embedding in sociology? What does deep learning and transfer learning look like in NLP? And how can we take this into the next step to some other domains, seemingly very irrelevant, but surprisingly or unsurprisingly use the same framework, such as in medical simulation domain. And I also got some questions from researchers working on genomic segmentation, because they recognize language data set is also sequence by sequence, word next words, which is similar to the genomic sequence nature as well. So we had a lot of discussion on how to share the same technology framework from one domain to the other. Thank you. Next slide. And the third but not least component is my research collaborations, where I work a little bit in depth with other AI researchers from other colleges to work on specific data sets. Here are two examples. The very nice cute picture you're seeing are from maybe 300 years ago, some natural history collection from Mexico. And I work with the Florida Natural History Museum, a collaborator. We are working on how to use NLP and computer vision, combine these two AI subdomain models to have a better understanding of these history collections. And the other one is about using NLP to enhance urban design. In this study, we're looking at how to understand park visitors' feedback around their community, and how can we learn from what they know about their environment to build a better urban design for the local residents. And that's my work component, and I'm happy to deliver that to Lori.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be part of this wonderful panel. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're doing to support research impact at WPI. Next slide. Just a little bit about WPI itself. We're a medium-sized private institution that focuses on engineering and STEM. And if you've heard of WPI, it is probably because of our world-renowned project-based learning curriculum. We have over 600 incredible faculty that are dedicated to both teaching and research. So unlike many other engineering schools, we are definitely dedicated to both the teaching and research sides. In the library, we aim, of course, to provide the resources and services to support these remarkable faculty. And one way we do this is that we help them to tell their story. Next. So institutions increasingly are under pressure to demonstrate their impact. This is particularly relevant as they look to compete for both funding sources and for students. This gets pushed down somewhat to the individual level to our faculty, so that faculty now really feel the need to demonstrate impact, particularly in their promotion and tenure packets. So part of the service that I provide is really the traditional citation analysis, and that's a very important part. So gathering their number of citations per year, the journal impact factors, their H-index, et cetera, and that's a really important part of their packet. To do this, then, I use pretty direct data mining in the databases. I use Google Scholar, Scopus, Web of Science, Dimensions, and others, of course. And overall, the citation data is pretty easy to locate, but very time-consuming to pull sometimes. And the H-index now is either given to you through the database or very easy to calculate. We have found that additional data is really needed to tell their stories, though. And this is particularly relevant for faculty we find who either are publishing in lower impact journals or have lower citation counts and need to provide additional evidence of their impact. Next, please. So one of the components that we thought would help tell their story is to add the social media data, and this can be a real critical component for some faculty members. This is available in many different venues, but for us, what we do use is Scopus and their PlumX metrics, and we use Dimensions with their altmetric data as well. And both of these help us to track the online engagement with research. So in both cases, what this can do then is help to provide some insights into the way that people in other research areas or their same research area are interacting with their individual pieces of research output. So this would be things like favorites or shares or tweets or likes or readers or just postings. And overall, what this can do then is to help, particularly in the tenure and promotion process, to help benchmark the influence of a given researcher against some peers in the field and really help them to assess their reputation globally. So this is a great addition to the bibliographic analysis in the faculty packets. The trouble with it is it's not easy to capture from the user interface, and it's often just a sort of a copy and paste sort of situation that we need to do that. Luckily, what's happened though is APIs have come along, and APIs have really made this more feasible, allows me to do this for many people, whereas if I'm doing it in sort of a copy and paste environment, it's very time consuming, and I really can't do it for many researchers in a given period. Next. So the example that I want to share with you is the data fetcher example. So this is an Elsevier product, but there are many other products like this and many other APIs that exist. The Altmetrics site also offers an API that librarians or researchers can use. And the beauty of this is that what used to take hours and hours of time to produce can now be done in just minutes. It simply requires an API key from the vendor, may require a token, an institutional token, and then requires the actual client, in this case from Elsevier. The output from the data fetcher or other APIs is usually very easily integrated into spreadsheets, into Word documents, and other type of documents that may be needed. Next. So I just wanted to show you a screenshot of what the data fetcher looks like. So I want to stress here that no coding is needed. I do not know anything about coding, could not do it if that were the case, but no coding is needed to do this. The instructions are very straightforward. It is a very easy process to do this. And you are able to pull from a very wide array of both PlumX metrics in this case, but other kinds of data as well. So citation data is here. Anything that's captured within the Scopus and SciVal records is able to be pulled out through the queries that you build. Next. So the output comes out in either a .txt or an Excel type of file for you. And it will produce exactly what you ask it to produce in the query. There is a lot of cleanup that's needed, but it's pretty simple cleanup, reorganizing, renaming fields, etc. And then you can get a really nice chart that's being included, in my case, in the promotion and tenure packet that I'm preparing. Next, please. I also want to talk a little bit about the SDGs that we're also including to demonstrate impact. So as you all know, the UN Sustainable Development Goals were launched in 2016 as part of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which was adopted later by world leaders via the UN. And WPI is really deeply committed to furthering these goals. Luckily for me, as the librarian is helping faculty demonstrate this, there's an alignment with the SDGs now through many databases. So Scopus, Dimensions, and others, you can see my little screenshot there, have made that connection with an individual piece of research showing which SDGs they support or partner with. Next. So luckily the APIs such as Data Fetcher also can harvest this information if it's in the records in the database. And so I'm able to pull it with the same client and same process that I do, and then include this in their tenure and promotion reports and elsewhere as well. I also wanted to point out, I've got an example here of the great faculty profiles that we create. We have a special projects librarian who's assigned to providing the guidance or actual hands-on help to the faculty members to do this. And again, these profiles are another great way that we demonstrate the impact of our researchers to the world. And I just wanted to note that the Sustainable Development Goals have now been included in these profiles as well. And then just my final piece here that I want to show is the final product, what it looks like. So what I'm able to produce is a report. In this case, it was over 20 pages, sometimes a little bit less, sometimes more, that includes all of the data that I've pulled. It also includes, along with the raw data in chart format, as I'm showing here, lots of graphical representations of the data that I developed for the researcher, and some verbiage as well to demonstrate their impact as they go forward to ask for promotion or tenure. So these have been very popular with faculty. They're very, very pleased to have these and to present them to the tenure committees. Again, thanks to some of the technology and the APIs, it's become easier and easier for me to do this for them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lori and Bree and Emily. That was really fantastic. Enjoyed all of those presentations. So I think what I learned today from all of you is that there really are innovative services and programs that libraries can put in place that that really meet these quickly evolving needs of today's researchers and the research community, whether it's teaching AI, you know, being an innovative resource for that kind of impact reporting, and hiring staff who might not even be librarians with all kinds of new skill sets. So this has been great. And we'd really love to hear from anyone who might be watching about how your library is going beyond content in your approach to supporting researchers. So please don't hesitate to reach out to any of us if you'd like to continue this conversation or just want to learn more. And you'll see our email addresses are included on this last slide. And with that, we have come to the conclusion of this recorded presentation. So thank you so much again, and please reach out if you have questions or comments.